Okay, yeah, so first off, thank you very much everyone coming on the weekend to the sales office of the Bristol place. And it's our great pleasure today we have Scott and to give us introduction of this whole project. Okay, thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Vicky. Welcome everybody. Bristol Place is going to be sold from here. We're going to be starting selling on September 13th at the Platinum Exchange. And so today we just had these scale models put in yesterday, and of course Vicky being one of the top agents in the industry has one of the first opportunities to come and take pictures and video of the buildings. And then while she's here, we're going to do a little presentation and let you know the key talking points about Bristol Place to help you to be able to sell it. So I guess a good place to start is just like real estate agents, builders want to set themselves apart from all the other sites out there. They need to have real differences that make them better. Just like real estate agents, right? Otherwise, why would someone choose you over someone else, right? So I'm going to go through these main talking points. Once people hear these talking points from 2 or 3 sources, from your marketing, or from you a couple of times, it sinks in and it defines the project. And if you define the project in these talking points, it's an obvious decision for them to choose Bristol Place. So it's really important, these talking points, right? I'll just give you the proximity first of the buildings themselves. We're going to be launching the tower on the north first, Tower 1. Over here, on this side, is Main Street. So just like Jane, running what we know as north and south, this is the north direction. This side street behind Thomas Street is the border to the west. People will access the buildings through the 2 side streets and through here. The entrance to the building is here for Tower 1 and here for Tower 2. There's a nice little, area there for driving in and dropping groceries off and things. So the 2 towers are 48 stories tall. They will be the tallest 2 towers in Brampton. That's the first talking point. So that brings prestige to the project. The second talking point, it's so important today to be connected to public transit. So this is the only Brampton condominium that is walking distance, new Brampton condominium that is walking distance to the Brampton GO train station. So it's about a 2-minute walk. It's right here, right next door. So basically people will be able to get on the GO train to the Union Station very quickly, or they'll be able to go to Kitchener-Waterloo as well. Of course there's the GO bus available at the same place, or there's Zoom, which is the local Brampton public transit, and then there's the LRT, a short distance away, where they can connect to everything in Mississauga. So it's very important today to have close proximity to public transit. So that really sets this project apart. It's the best one located as far as public transit goes in Brampton entirely. The next thing is even more important. It's called the Brampton Innovation District. I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but something amazing is happening in Brampton. Brampton is changing. Brampton's always been behind Mississauga in development. There's not really any prestigious high-rise condo towers in Brampton. There's many in Mississauga, right? So this is the first. And it's basically what the mayor has done in Brampton is he's changed his zoning to bring in a lot more tall commercial buildings and a lot more tall condominiums, 4 colleges and universities, a new hospital, a new teaching university for that hospital, and also Rogers head office is moving just a few meters away from where our buildings are as well. So with all these new tech jobs coming, and all these new students coming to the 4 colleges and universities, it's going to mean an amazing demand for the 2 closest condo towers. They're not going to want to live way east or way west if they have an opportunity to go here. So more demand means higher rent for your clients to charge. More demand means higher appreciation. Your clients will make more money, right? Now, this might seem important. This is obviously important for investors, but it's equally important for end users to understand this. Because if you're an end user and you're living in this building for 2 or 3 years, and now you have a baby, or now you're getting married, and you want to make that step to a townhouse or a detached house, If you haven't kept up with the market, you're not going to be able to make that move as easily if you've chosen the wrong condominium, right? So it's so important you choose the right place. It's going to make your client more money on appreciation and for rent as well. So imagine if you could get in the first high-rise condo tower around the square one in Mississauga, you would really see the value, and you would say right away, yes, I want a condominium, because I can see the future of developments all coming around and drives prices up. And this is exactly what's happening here because of the Brampton Innovation District, right? This is the first building of many, many buildings coming. In fact, Solmar has 4 more 48-story towers coming right down the street on Queen Street by Kennedy, where we're going to be selling, right? It's almost walking distance from here. So there's many more towers coming, and this is the first of those. So it's like getting in on the ground floor of Brampton changing. So Brampton will be a hub, a high-tech hub, connected by that GO train we were talking about between Brampton and Kitchener-Waterloo. It'll be that hub. All right, so you'll start to think of Brampton once all the new high-tech jobs come and all the universities and colleges come as well. So those are the main talking points. There's a couple other things I'll tell you before I answer your questions. So I'll just repeat again. Tallest 2 towers in Brampton, next door to the Brampton GO train station, on the doorstep of the Brampton Innovation District, and I guess one of the most important talking points as well that I haven't mentioned yet is who's the builder. It can be a nightmare if you choose the wrong builder. Solmar has a reputation like Tridel and Menkes to pick really good locations for their buildings, to give really good quality, and to give really good after-sales service. So your client will have a much better experience and be able to sell easier and for more money when they buy from a better builder, right? So our clients really need to take all these things into consideration when buying. My family's from Scotland. We have a reputation of being really careful with our money, and we often want to buy by price, right? I know some people in the Chinese community have said the same thing about their culture, that they like to buy by price, and they're very aware of prices, right? But we have to keep in mind, if you buy by price, you die by price, right? If you buy a resale house and it's a really cheap price because it's backing onto the rank of the 401, and you go to sell it, you're going to sell it for a lower price, it's going to be harder to sell, take longer to sell. Right? You also won't have the same experience enjoyment because you bought by price, because you're back on the market, right? And just like other cities, although it's not as extreme, you wouldn't expect to pay the same price for the same location in downtown Toronto. You shouldn't expect in other areas either, even though it's not as pronounced in Brampton as it would be, let's say, in downtown Toronto with Yorkville and East York or something like that. We still expect to pay a different price for the 4 corners, like the core downtown of Brampton, with the innovation district coming, versus something way west, let's say by Wall Road or to the south with dual condos. This value will be more. We should expect a different value. Just like when people sell it, they're going to get a different value because they're in the better location. So that's something really important. We should try and lead our clients to buy for the real reasons, the talking points I mentioned, rather than by price. Because it'll be a different experience and they will not make the same amount of money. Mm-hmm. So about the buildings, I'll just add, they're very efficient floor plans. The tower itself, the typicals in the tower will be 445 to 645 square feet. That's proper 1 bedrooms, 1 plus dens, and 2 bedrooms. There'll be larger suites in the penthouse, and there'll be larger and smaller suites in the podium sections. With more efficient pricing, it means it will be more affordable for people, right? Especially 5 years from now, people are not going to afford to buy a big condo for the same price, same money they have now. If you go back 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 9 years ago, each time in the market, we felt like the prices were here, they can't go up anymore. And then a couple years later, they're $100,000, $200,000 more, depending on whether you bought a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom. And that's what we're expecting to continue to happen in the marketplace. Immigration is driving the market. A shortage of development land is driving, and resale properties are limiting supply. When you have too much demand, not enough supply, it's upward pressure on prices. With 440,000 new Canadians coming this year, scheduled to be coming, the government just announced it's going to actually be quite a bit more than that last week. with interest rates rising, it's going to limit the number of people moving. Because if you have a higher interest rate, you can't shop around for a different bank because you don't want to have to qualify at a higher rate. You don't want to move to the same size house or in a different neighborhood because you don't qualify. So you're going to end up having to stay there and use the same bank. So if less people are moving because of the higher interest rates, it's going to put more constraints on supply in the resale market, which will drive people to pre-construction high-rise. When many people, because of higher interest rates, don't want to pay the higher mortgage payments, they're going to sell, they're going to downsize, they're going to come and exacerbate the demand on high-rise condos as well. The lower price point in the market, obviously condos are the lowest price point. Townhouses, detached houses are more expensive. You're going to always have more demand for the lower price point type in any market, whether it's a slower market or a busy market. There's always more demand for the lower price type. Right? So we saw when we launched Tower 1 in Edge Towers, prices have doubled compared to what we're selling Tower 3 for right now, and in the market generally. We could see prices double again in the next 5 years based on economic indicators, right? If that happens, and if rents, let's say, go up 70% compared to what they are now, or even 100% compared to what they are now, people are going to wish they bought now. You buy now, insulate yourself with a 2027 closing date that could even be longer. Then interest rates should be down lower then, and prices should be way, way up. Whereas if you don't make a decision, if your client does not buy now, they likely will not be able to buy next year or the year after because the market will leave them behind. So insulate yourself from the higher interest rates by having a long closing date pre-construction, or your clients can buy something in resale right away. If they don't buy something right away in resale, there's going to be multiple offers again soon, and they'll have trouble getting anything, especially at higher prices and higher interest rates as well. So.
How far from this place to the high-tech innovation center?
It's walking distance. Some of them are just like this, like basically over here, like this far away from where the zone starts. And then the Rogers head office is walking distance in LA as well.
Is there any retail space on the ground floor?
There is. We have a daycare going in, and we have retail spaces on the ground floor.
Any townhouse?
No townhouses, but there are single floor condos in the building. So that one first. This one first. The north one first. Yeah.
Are the smaller units eligible to purchase parking?
Good question. They're going to be on a waiting list. The smallest ones. So 2 bedrooms we'll be able to buy right away, and it's just being worked out right now which ones will be on waiting list, like which sizes of units will be on waiting list versus buying right away. I can tell you that we need to advise our clients if they're buying a small unit, it's wise not to buy parking. You know, as we've seen Toronto prices, like with Toronto, we know that if someone buys a 1-bedroom downtown, likely they won't be able to afford a car by the time they pay the high rent or the high mortgage, right? The same thing is going to happen in Brampton and Mississauga as well. As prices get higher, it's just a car is not going to be in the cards for people. Especially, we're living in a changing world, especially the last 2 years. People are able to work from home. Amazon is delivering stuff. You order a book the next day, your book has arrived from Amazon. Food is getting delivered by Amazon. So younger people, they tend to not want to drive a regular car. They want to drive an electric car, or they don't want to own a car. We are going to have electric rental cars in the building for people to rent by the hour or by the day, and also electric bikes and scooters, I believe. You're going to get all the information on that on September 13th. So we really have to educate our clients that in 5 years' time, people in small units, it will actually be a bad thing if they have parking. If you have a really small 350 square foot unit in downtown Toronto and you have parking with that, you actually have problems selling that unit because most of the market looking for that size cannot afford that unit. There's only a small portion that have a car when they have that small unit.